Well, it's a long time coming here to bring back Patrick Armstrong from Vetted, friend of the show, and just a friend in general. Patrick, thanks for coming back on here at UAP. I love having you back on, man.
Oh, Steven, it's so great to be here, man. Honestly, I'm super excited to chat with you, dude.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I know, there's a lot of back and forth a little bit to get the schedules kind of cohesive because you've moved. The Vetted studios have moved to Spain. So first off, how's the move? How are things going in the home?
Oh man, it is amazing here. Madre mia, that's what we would say here.
Nice.
It's amazing. I love living here. Before we start recording, I showed you where the view from my studio here with these
Awesome.
ancient, it's like literally like a 10 square block area of 280 buildings and cathedrals. They filmed Game of Thrones here.
Oh, wow. Nice. I did
So
not
I
know that.
literally I look out the window at it like it's vetted. We upgraded, baby. We upgraded.
Nice. That's
So
awesome,
yeah,
man.
man, I'm loving life over here.
Very cool. I love that. And it did look amazing. You were showing me that before we started. It looked amazing.
Yeah,
There's a lot that I want to get to here with you today. And obviously, we can go back and forth on a ton of things, but I wrote down a few
sure.
things that we can try to talk about here today on UAP because there's just so much going on as we left 2025 and now we're kind of still getting used to 2026, but it feels like we've carried over some of the topics, some of the questions that we've been asking for the past few years have carried over now to 2026. And one of those things actually that I'll start with, and it's funny because it is kind of like a full circle moment to have you back on here today. Last time you were on, we spoke about something you had planned. You were in the planning stages of creating your own documentary based on the study of psionics and how it could be possible that some people are able to psychically connect with UFOs and summon them, call them down, have this type of connection. And I remember talking to you about that. Then you're like, yeah, I'm working on it. I'm talking to people. And now you're done. So I get to bring you back on and ask about your new documentary, Psionics, The Minds That Summon UFOs. It's coming out this year. Tell us about it. What should we expect? Do you have an exact date? And how can people see it when it comes out?
Yeah, man, it's crazy to come full circle on that and actually have finished it. Like I can't even believe it. So we're right now technically we're in the final stages of post production. So the film is locked, meaning it's everything we shot, we got it all boom together. So now what they're doing, it should be ready really in a few weeks. To be
Nice.
honest, color grading, sound design, all the final touches. It's like if you baked a cake and now you just got to add all the little, touches to it. So yeah, getting the film locked was a was a really long process that took months as well.
Hmm.
After shooting it. So it will come out later this year. My guess, we don't have an exact date, but my guess is we're shooting for somewhere around May or June
Oh, cool.
to release it. It might be available for some in-person screenings before that, maybe in March or April. But I don't have any details on that. So I'll announce it if that happens, but it'll just be available when it comes out, like every other documentary. We'll have it on Amazon. You can rent it on Amazon, Apple, those sorts of things. I'm sure a couple other platforms. And yeah, man, I shot it starting at Contact in the Desert last
Right.
year,
Yeah.
2025. So it was the end of May, beginning of June. I went and shot there. And then over the course of the rest of June, July, August, and just a little bit into September, I shot. So I shot for quite a while.
Mm.
I ended up, you know, shot in your neck of the woods in Miami.
Oh,
I
cool.
shot
Okay.
part of the film there. I met a father and son, the Oglesbys. I shot with them. I shot in Sedona, Arizona. I
Nice.
shot in Utah. We shot in New Mexico. We shot in Nevada.
Wow, you went all over.
Um, yeah, so in California as well. Yeah, I shot a little bit in Spain,
Oh, there you go.
actually, in July for a week, in Huelva, which is a little beach town where Christopher Columbus sailed out of.
Dang, okay,
That's
talk
where
about history.
yeah, that's the city, that's the port city where he sailed out of to head for the Americas. So I shot there. I just thought that'd be a cool place to go to, a little bit of history. That I was on my own there, so trying to summon UFOs on my own from things I had learned.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it was quite an adventure. And for about half of that adventure, especially all the stuff I did in Arizona and Utah, I had Gino from the Y-Files with me. So Gino is AJ's brother.
Nice.
AJ, who hosts the show of the Y-Files. So Gino's his brother and producer on the Y-Files. So he tagged along with me, and he's also in the documentary.
Oh, cool.
So it was cool to get to experience a lot of that with him. Not alone, because we were going out to some pretty, secluded areas, out ranches, desert. We went to the Mojave Desert,
Wow.
On the Anasazi Trail, sort of prehistoric, like these, ancient glyphs and kind of Native American sort of energy, just, because I just filmed with different people who claim to have that ability, and they all have their own protocols or setups, or, hey, this is how I do it, and this is what I think. And, and I wanted to get different perspectives. And this film was really just about hanging out with your average everyday person who does this, not some, government insider or this or that or anything like that. It's just your average everyday person. And most of the people I film with, nobody's ever heard of, which was when I wanted some of that. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Some of them are kind of known, in some ways. So that was also cool. And yeah, man, it was an absolute blast.
That's
I have
awesome.
to admit, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm so glad I did it, and I can't wait to present the film.
I can't wait to see it, because, one thing that I think we've always agreed on as far as philosophy goes is just have an open mind. Like, let's talk about this stuff. Let's see where it leads. It could be true, it could be not true, but let's at least discuss it, and wherever you land, you land. And I think that's one of the things that, I appreciated so much about why you were doing this film was you weren't going out there to try to prove anything. You weren't going out there to say, hey, I can summon UFOs with my mind and watch my movie so I can prove it. It was, let's look at this stuff together and see what happens. So what did you learn? I guess without giving, obviously, too much away that will, spoil anything. But what do you feel like you learned in the process, now that it's all said and done and you're just getting ready to present it, that maybe you surprised you and you thought, this time last year or this past summer, you thought, I don't know what's going to happen. And then you actually ended up finding out some things in that area.
Yeah, great question. And look, I don't really know if there is any spoilers, because it's exactly what you said. I wasn't going out there to prove it or disprove it. That wasn't my point at all, because I'm not some scientist. This isn't some science, back thing. This is like you said, curious mind. I feel almost the journey is more important than the destination. And it was very important to me, for something that I was deeply interested in, to really go look into it instead of trying to armchair it like I do most things from the safety of my studio.
Right.
I thought this is something we all have, the mind, right? So this is something I can actually go check out. You can tell me about a UFO crash all day long, but I can't go see the UFO. I can't go see the thing, So this was something I could really go check and test, and that's why I really was attracted to it. And yeah, by going out, I'll say this: I'm more open to the idea than I ever was before. Like, for real, having gone through what I've gone through.
Yeah, I was going to
Because I
say,
had my own personal experiences shooting.
there you go. Yeah, because I was going to say, like, what led you there? Like, what led you now to that kind of new openness to the possibility that people can actually summon UFOs with their minds? What happened to you that brought you there?
Yeah, man, I saw a lot of things that in the sky that I couldn't explain. Okay, out at different spots. So that definitely happened. Now, probably a lot of the things that I saw, but not all of them, probably a lot of them were just satellites or something along those lines. But there was a couple moments that I talk about in the film too, like that I'm like, what the fuck was that? Pardon me. I'm sorry. Pardon my friend.
All good.
But it totally caught me
I
off
can beep it.
guard. Like,
I can beep it. That's
yeah,
fine.
okay, I'm sorry. Um, but that was my reaction. Like, what the, because we're looking. You don't know how much is out there in the night sky till you put on some like military grade night vision
Mm,
goggles in the middle of a no light pollution city,
yeah.
right? Like literally being out in the middle of nowhere. And in Sedona, they don't have light pollution. So when we were out there in Sedona, um, I met with this guy named John Polk. That's his name, and he works in Sedona as like a UFO tour guide.
Hmm,
Okay, he's not. I don't think he's online. He might be. I don't know, but he's just a local guy who you go see and hang out. And Ron James, the filmmaker, had introduced me to him.
cool.
And Ron James is in the film as well,
Nice.
doing things he's never done before. So he was kind of like a good opportunity for some people who've kind of filmed people or sat back to get involved,
Yeah.
to let's try some of this stuff. So so this one light, dude, I'm looking up at the sky and I'm looking at all these stars, because you put the night vision goggles on, you just see so much, and you see a lot of things moving. You're just like, whoa, man, what is happening? This
Wow.
is insane stuff you cannot see with the naked eye.
Huh.
And but again, I think a lot of things are satellites, which is fine, right? But one particular night, I'm looking up and I'm staring at this one thing that's moving. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because that just did not seem like it was moving like a satellite. Fair is fair. Like that doesn't seem like that. And then as I'm looking at this thing fly by, there's this one light that's still like a star. There's a bunch of little stars. They're just still. They're not moving, right? Just you see a lot of that. That as soon as this one light passes it, this star that just been sitting there just takes off behind this thing.
Hmm.
And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And it just starts booking with it. And I never saw that, in any, because we sky watched a lot. And I was blown away by that. Gina and I talked about that for a long time. I was like, what was that thing, man? That was so interesting. While we're out, you know, putting out the energy, you would like meditate and kind of put out this energy of invitation, right? Of
Hmm.
summoning, right? Like, and I'm just saying that was pretty strange, man. And I'm a skeptical guy, and I don't. Um, and I saw a few other things, but that was the most amazing thing that I saw. And I talk about it in the film. I didn't capture it on film. Um, that's another thing I learned. It is so hard to capture things in the night sky.
Hmm.
Okay, I am so sympathetic now to UFO videos and people who have experiences and try to capture it on their phone or whatever.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it now. While the
Yeah.
video looks like total crap, because it's so hard. The experience you have in person versus what you try to capture on your phone and then upload it online and be like, look what happened. And then people are like, that's just a light in the sky. And I've said that myself. I
Yeah.
get it now. I get it. Like it's important to hear somebody's testimony about what they saw and experienced and keep that in context pretty
Hmm.
relative, because it's just so hard to film this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. And it's I guess that now that you've gone through it and you've done the investigation and you've made the documentary about it, how do you compare your experiences now to those that you've personally, I guess, investigated from other people? I know you've spoken to Michael Batista, who's,
Yeah.
into psionics. And of course, there's people like Chris Bledsoe, who talks about summoning UFOs all the time. I mean, that's his thing. Of course, there's
Yeah.
Skywatcher, there's Jake Barber. And these are all things that you and I have looked into. These are people that you and I have spoken to on our respective shows. So now that you've been there and you've done it, how do you now look at people like that who talk about their experiences?
Yeah, again, I'm more open to it now than I ever was before. I definitely think there's some unexplained phenomena that is, and there may be completely maybe a correlation between our consciousness and our mind and some sort of connection. Okay. And I'm more open to the idea than I ever was before, based on just actually going out there and,
Yeah.
and hanging out with these people and talking with them and trying to figure this out. I think dismissing it's an individual journey, of course, but I think dismissing it outright as like, oh, that's nonsense. I wouldn't be so sure.
Hmm.
I'm not sold on that. That's nonsense.
Hmm.
Again, and I had a physical experience as well, which blew my mind, like
Hmm.
in my body, not forget, seeing something that I couldn't explain. It's like, okay, well, how do you explain what happened to me?
Really?
It's like, there's some, yeah, yeah, I'm more open to it now than I ever was before. But with that said,
Yeah.
fair is fair. I'm very honest in the film. So there's probably going to be some people pissed off at me, but there's also going to be people, hopefully, that just respect my authenticity. So, I call the duck a duck and a rat a rat.
Wait a
It's
minute.
like
Hold
there are
on. I think you just broke some news there, Patrick. There's going to be people who are going to be upset at you. That's never happened before. There's never been upset at you for anything that you said on any of your videos. This is this is groundbreaking territory. How are you going to handle people being upset at you? It's never happened to you before. I don't believe it. Dude,
Oh, well, I'm building a
I don't know how you
bunker.
deal with it.
I'm building a
Honestly,
bunker.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, there's people who just are. There's so many people who are just downright mean to you. I mean, I see it all the
Yeah. Yeah.
time. It's rough, man. How do you
Yeah.
deal with that?
I don't care.
Yeah,
I
just
just,
move on.
dude, I worked as a chef in the restaurant industry. I worked as a server, a bartender, a
Yeah.
manager. That's those are hard jobs. This is nothing. I got people saying mean things about me online. I don't care.
Good, good. Yeah,
It means nothing to me. Yeah, I'm always just on it. That's the easiest way to be in life. Just be yourself and be honest. You may piss some people off, but you're gonna piss people off if you try to please everybody
yeah,
too.
100%.
Right? There's just always people upset. So it's just easiest for me to just be who I am, say how I feel, and I just leave it at that. I just don't even worry about it, right? I have the love and respect of the people that I care about, and that's all I worry about, in my
Good.
real life, right? So, um, but I'm honest in the film, it's if I felt something was XYZ, I said it. But if I felt something was anomalous, I said it. Like it wasn't, I'm not trying to push there's no agenda, there's no pushing. But I
Right.
also learned, as much as I'm more open to this idea than ever, I also learned there are some people out there who fake stuff and who try to
Mm.
deceive you into believing. And in my opinion, why? If I think there's a real phenomena. Why are we faking stuff? Why are we trying to deceive people when there's
Yeah.
real things happening? Let's look into the real things. Why are we trying to add to the haystack here, right? Like
Yeah.
for this needle, like it doesn't make any sense. And to be honest, we want to do a follow-up to our documentary,
Mm.
right? We've already greenlit a follow-up to this documentary
Oh, cool.
because we believe in it so much, me especially. I believe in this so much. So we're taking it to the next level for the next documentary. We're going to be talking to scientists, who are looking into it. There are real, serious people in this world looking into the power of the mind and consciousness. And I want to show the serious side of it too.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is a real thing
Yeah.
that serious people care about. So, yeah, that's just one thing I also learned is that there are deceptive people out there. And it's like, there's just
Mm.
no need for that.
No, it's unfortunate, and you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
we see it, and unfortunately, sometimes it's you find out too late, and then that's why there is so much controversy and discussion when it comes to this topic. You're trying to sift through
Yeah.
the BS sometimes. But it's
Yeah.
interesting. I just wanted to jump back real quick, if you don't mind elaborating on it. What was the physical experience that you had when you were making this?
Yeah, so I went with Carl Crusher and Gino Gentile, okay, from the Y Files. Gino, Carl, and we went out to the Mojave Desert, to the Anasazi Trail, it's called. Um, and Carl has some special access, okay, because as part of like his day job, if you will, he does tours and things. He takes people out, so he has some access that's not public. That's all like private land and stuff. So
Mm.
he took us to some places that people aren't allowed to go, and we got to see all these ancient glyphs and hieroglyphs and all kinds of just so interesting things, man. Like they're drawing these alien-like figures on the right. Just like, why would they draw this?
It's
if
amazing.
they weren't seeing this stuff. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, I'm just saying, getting out there really can, you know, help your belief. Or if you're skeptical about some things, like, just get out there. You know,
Hmm.
it really can make a difference. So anyway, we're out there, and Carl took up on this like cliffside of this little like mountain, you know, half mountain, I don't know, you know, whatever. There's something called the shaman seat. And
Hmm.
it's basically this rock that looks like a seat. I mean, quite literally looks like a little seat
Hmm.
with no back to it, but just like, you know, this is where two butt cheeks go. You
Yeah.
know, that just to not. I mean, seriously, it was like, oh, that's looks like a seat. Okay, like a cushion, right? And it's situated just perfectly where, you know, shamans used to sit there and look, and there were these two rocks in front of them, like rocks, huge boulder type things that had this little V gap, like that did,
Hmm.
where the sun would come on the sunrise. It would come right through there, and it would just hit you perfectly, right? Just kind of sitting there when it hit you perfectly, and right there in front on the boulders, they had all these glyphs there that they had drawn on all this stuff. So it was just this place to sit that had allegedly a lot of energy and aura, and just, you know, kind of a special spot out of all the places around there to just really take this in. So Carl suggests to me, why don't you sit on the rock? Well, Gino and I will go away, and you just take some time to yourself, right? And just kind of do whatever you want, you know?
Yeah.
So
Take it all in.
yeah, take it all in. So I took the stuff that Carl had told me, because I'm there with Carl, you know, as far as like how to mentally prepare myself to summon orbs or UFOs, right? And I sat there and I went through my thing, and I did everything, and I meditated, and I just kind of took it all in, and um I opened my eyes, and I don't see anything in the sky, right? So I'm just like, oh man, that didn't work. But while I was sitting there, mind you, this is the middle of the summer.
Hmm.
It is hot as heck out there,
Yeah.
man. I mean, it was hot, dude.
Because
It was in the desert, right?
this was also in Sedona as well, right? Right there in the middle of.
No, this is
Okay.
in Utah.
Oh, it's in Utah. Okay.
This
Okay.
isn't, yeah, this is in southern Utah.
Okay.
Just on the very tip of the Mojave Desert, because it goes all the way from California up to the tip of Utah. So, um, as I'm sitting there, I just feel like I got cool with the sun beating down on me. And I'm from Texas. I know heat. And
Yeah.
I know
Right.
if you just stop and stand in the heat, it gets really hot.
Hmm.
You're like a magnifying glass. So, but that didn't happen. I started to cool down,
Hmm.
and I started to like feel this very relaxing, calming energy. And I'm a nervous, ticky guy, you know, used to bite my fingernails a lot. You know, I drink a lot of coffee. I still smoke cigarettes, you know. I'm a very nervous, ticky. I pace when I'm on the phone, you know.
Okay.
And I just have this whole calming energy that I cannot explain. And look, I even have fireworks,
Yeah, I see
okay,
that.
happening. I don't know how I did that.
Hold on, just real quick. For any, because this is, if you're not watching the video, I don't know what just happened, but that kind of freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie. As you're talking
Me
about this,
too.
literally, as you're talking about this calming energy, it was almost like a supernatural calming energy for you. All of a sudden, behind you on our screen here, and for full disclosure, we're on StreamYard recording this. All of a sudden, your room went dark, and fireworks came up behind you. It was like this graphic where these fireworks just what just happened? You didn't press anything. I'm looking
Oh,
at you. I didn't press anything.
bro, I don't
How was
know
that?
what just happened. I
That's so
think there's some
weird.
sort of reactions or something on my thing, but I don't know. But that freaked me out too. Okay, I'm not gonna
That's
lie. Uh,
and I'll just let me just add this too,
wow.
because I don't know what that was. Every interview I've ever done on UAP, every single one, with the exception, I think, of like 2 that I've done with James Fox, those were on Zoom. Every single
Yeah.
one outside of those have been on StreamYard. And what just happened right now with you has never happened in any interview I've ever done on UAP over the past 4.5 years. I don't know what that was just now. Where did those fireworks come from? as you're talking about
Bro,
this, dude, that's so freaky. And there could be a
the
very
shaman.
obvious explanation, but that was so weird.
It's just there's like reactions. I can see it here on my from the camera from my Apple
Yeah, it's
MacBook
gotta have
or
something to
whatever.
do with StreamYard reactions, but it was just such weird timing. So,
The
anyway,
timing was insane. I agree. I was like, whoa, what the heck's happening? Right. Like
that's funny.
that's how I felt. I felt like fireworks going on. I felt like Katy Perry
Yeah.
when I was out there on the shaman seat, you know. But yeah, I just felt this energy that I've never felt before and felt so odd. And just the timing of it, right? Coincidence? I don't know. I'm just saying I just felt something in me that I've never felt, and I just can't explain it. And it stuck with me, definitely affected me. And now I can understand and sort of relate to someone when they say they have some sort of an experience they can't really explain. And it's kind of hard to put into words. I can relate to that now more than ever. Right. It's really hard for me to explain even to you, and even in the film when it happens, like how, like what's happening, it's like whoa,
Mm.
whoa, 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 what I'm trying to put into, where I'm trying to explain what's happening, but something happened to me sitting there, and it was a positive thing. I
Yeah.
want to make that clear too. Like it was a positive thing. I felt rejuvenated. I felt in the
Mm.
sun. Like it doesn't make sense, considering I should have gotten way hotter, and I should have been, I was dehydrated. Like I felt hydrated. I mean, it was just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like
Huh.
all while sitting in the shaman seat, and it kind of just, like, I guess that's why people sit there. Like it
Yeah,
is this sort of fountain of youth. I don't know. It was just strange, man.
it's interesting.
And I still can't. I can't explain it, and it's something that stuck with me since the filming. And actually, we talk about in the documentary too. Carl was filming on his camera, and he uploaded to his YouTube part of that journey that we did. Now I filmed on a different camera and we cut it differently and all of this, but he had some sort of 360 camera, and all of that footage got like all jacked up just in that moment.
Hmm.
And never happened anywhere else.
Wow.
I find that unusual as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like, and I'll get your take on it, obviously, because you're the one who experienced it. Do you feel like it was a natural type of like there's something with that spot? That's why, the natives chose that spot. They understood that there was some type of natural or supernatural energy associated with that spot on the earth for whatever reason. Maybe it have something to do with magnetism or ley lines. I don't know. Um, or was it something other than that? Do you feel like you were getting an answer to what you were searching from some type of, higher intelligence? And that was like a signal to you, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and nobody asked me that question about
Oh,
that.
good.
That's a great
Thank
question.
you.
Gino never asked me that. Yeah, good job. I don't know, man.
Hard to
That's
tell.
a great question. I hadn't thought about that. I just was like, I went to do something, something happened. I'm connecting those things, So clearly, you know, people from a long time ago sat there for a reason,
Yeah, right.
right? Because that it was this special place. It wasn't like, it wasn't something Carl set up. This was
Yeah.
like, an ancient place that they called it a shaman seat for a reason. Shamans used to sit there. Is it just because, it is just a natural spot to go and there is some sort of extra energy there? Or did I open up to something? Because I did try to call out, right? I
Yeah.
did try to summon. Could it be a mixture of both, as well?
Right,
I
right.
don't know, man. It's definitely a special spot,
Hmm.
and that's unusual, because we went to some other special spots and nothing happened. Okay.
Right.
I got taken to the Bradshaw Ranch, which is considered, well, the people there in Sedona will tell you Bradshaw is more paranormal than Skinwalker.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
That's what they say about Bradshaw Ranch. And one guy there was like, oh, stand on this rock, there's like a it's like another dimension. There's like a whole nother energy dimension. I stood on the rock. I was like, dude, I don't feel anything. You know what I mean? So I don't know,
Hmm.
but that place and that shaman seat,
It's interesting.
something's going on there, man.
Is that open to the public, or is that one of those places that was like private
No.
access that Carl was able to take you onto?
Yeah, it's not open to the public,
Interesting. Who owns the
unfortunately.
land? Do you know? Like, is it just because it's Native American land and it's like restricted?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's restricted. I don't know who owns it. I think it's a partnership, meaning there is a private owner, but they work with the state, right?
Right.
Because it is protected land.
Right.
So it's kind of like that happens a lot in America. Actually, you find out, you go to some of these places, it's private land, but also, you know, with
And
the
like,
okay of the government, and that's it. Yeah, because you're talking about, right, Native American,
yeah.
land and artifacts and all these things. Because there was also stuff in the ground. You had to be real careful where you stepped,
Wow.
not to step on like any old things, that you might break apart or whatever. And here I am tumbling around with a camera and all this stuff, trying to like, what I mean, watch my step at the same time. It's just
Right.
like, okay, this is like, I was like Inspector Clouseau out there. Uh,
It's an adventure in
you know,
itself.
yeah, we were the Three Stooges out there, dude. Yeah, but I don't know, man. That
Hmm.
spot is just
Really
super
interesting.
interesting.
Did you have any attachments or anything after that? Were there any after effects that you felt, or did it just you left it there and then you moved on to the next thing? Just
That's
real
a
quick.
great question too.
Those,
Yeah, no. That's a great question. No hitchhiker effect, if you will. I
right.
didn't have any sense of that. Only I had a hitchhiker memory,
Okay.
meaning I couldn't get that thought out of my head. I couldn't get that I had that experience out of my head. Just like going to a great concert.
Yeah. Right.
Right? You're just like, oh man, that was so cool. Like, so I had that. Like, it affected me so much that I thought I'm still thinking about it. I still
Cool.
think about it.
Well, I can't wait to see the finished product. I just love that topic. So I apologize. Maybe we went a little bit long on that, but I think it's just so fascinating. It's just so much that we can dig into on consciousness and psionics and how it all might connect. So awesome job ahead of time. I'm sure it's gonna be great. I can't wait to see it, man.
Yeah,
Outside of
absolutely.
that, kind of in the same vein, in the same topic, there seems to be, and I'm sure you've noticed it as well, there seems to be an uptick in UFO films out of Hollywood. And not to say that Dan Farrow, when I bring up Dan Farrow and The Age of Disclosure, it's not, necessarily Hollywood. That's also documentary style. But we have that. We have now Disclosure Day, Steven Spielberg's new film that's going to come out later on this year. And there's also news that just kind of came out within the past few days that there's a new Roswell movie. It's a historical piece being made by, I believe, 20th Century Fox. I may not have that right. And that's, it's going to be based off of, 1940s Roswell. So there seems to be now like this new uptick, and we've seen these before in the past. There's been, there was the hot genre, and it seems to be happening again. Why do you think that is? And this is more conspiratorial, but do you think it's just because they see there's money there, Hollywood? They're like, hey, people are interested in this. Let's strike while the iron's hot. Or is there some type of like, hey, let's put more of this out so we can kind of get people used to the idea? I don't, or is it a little bit of both? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's also real quick. David Grush is a consultant on a movie coming out directed by Joseph Kosinski,
Right.
who
Yes.
did Top Gun Maverick and F1 and
Yeah.
right, like an all President's Men style, cover ups, which is going to be amazing.
Yeah. So that's another one. That's right.
Yeah, that's another one to add. And they're rebooting the X Files. Ryan
Right.
Coogler from Black Panther
Whew.
and Creed. Um, yeah, MK Ultra, the guy from The Sopranos is making an MK Ultra
Wow.
series for HBO. Yeah, I don't, they've said that a lot. I've heard that before, right? Going back a long time, not
Sure.
just now, right? That there's sort of a soft disclosure through Hollywood.
Hmm.
But, I worked as an actor in my 20s, and worked on a few really big movie sets, like M. Night Shyamalan and stuff. Like, if you know how Hollywood movies are made, I don't see there having any soft disclosure, man. Me personally.
Yeah.
Now, could it be that the writers or who put these things together, they do go to the sources of communities and the zeitgeist and pull things. So could something end up in a movie that's kind of true from the lore or whatever? That's possible,
Hmm.
right? That
Right.
is possible because the writer's going to do research,
Right.
right? And
Right.
he's going to find things. So, but do I think it's some coordinated thing? I personally don't. But at the end of the day, what do I know? I don't know entirely.
Hmm.
But and they've putting out alien UFO movies it's a genre. It's like horror movies, right?
Sure.
It's a
Right.
genre.
Yeah.
So if they put
Exactly.
out a ghost movie, it doesn't mean like they're trying to soft disclosure ghosts. It's
That's
in
fair.
my opinion.
No, that's fair.
Um, but it does show that that topic is the reason, if Hollywood's putting out stuff like that, it's because there's a desire for it,
Correct. Yeah.
meaning they know there's money to be made there.
Mhm.
And because people are interested in the topic now more than ever. So that's what I think is the cool thing about it, is that people are more and more interested in UFOs and UAP and more open to talking about it, way less stigma than there used to be. It's kind of cool and retro to talk about. Like
Mhm.
I find that in my just regular life now. People are very like they don't look around and like, yeah, UFO, like they're
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I saw a UFO. I know a guy who saw it. They don't mind. And then
Right.
someone else speaks up, and even where I am in Spain, people talk about it. Right?
Yeah.
There's a whole world out there of different languages and cultures and countries talking about this stuff too. It's not just this American thing or
Right.
English speaking thing like that. And that's cool. So I just think there's a thirst for it now more than ever, which is, I think, awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. I think you hit the nail on the head, honestly, when it comes to just the psychiatry behind it, right? Where people they want to consume this stuff, and we see that. I mean, just in our own audiences, right? I mean,
Yeah.
people can listen to my show, people come and watch your show because they're interested in the topic. And you're right too about the international aspect. And I'm sure we both had people reach out to us from across the world. I mean, got messages, I'm sure, just like you, from Scotland, from Spain, from Germany, from Australia and Canada and Mexico. And it's amazing to see. And it's an important reminder. I bring that up because I think that was an important reminder you mentioned, that I think sometimes we kind of get caught up in just the Americanized version of the UFO topic. And it truly is multinational, international. It might be the most international topic out there, maybe along with a couple of other things. This is something that
I
people
think you're right.
throughout the world, right? I mean,
I think you're right. I think you're right, man. That's a great point. Yeah, because it breaks language. It breaks through
right.
language. It breaks through culture. It breaks through. It's like love, right? It's a universal topic that anyone can understand.
Yeah.
Strange things, happening in the sky or around you that you can't explain. It goes back millennia,
Right.
right? And it breaks culture. It breaks through the class system. It doesn't matter how rich, poor you are, what race you are, what ethnicity. It doesn't care if you paid your water bill or not.
Right.
It,
Right.
you know what I mean? This topic affects us all. And yeah, I think you're right. It's this universal thing. I mean, Vetted is translated into French, Italian, German, we're doing Portuguese,
It's
we're
awesome.
doing Russian, Japanese, like it's
Wow.
in all kinds of languages. We got channels for each one of them,
That's awesome.
because like you said, it's a universal thing.
Yeah. It's it's one of the few, which you're
I
right.
agree.
It really speaks to that type of the sense of what it really is deep down.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
with that said, and with that knowledge that this is kind of like a universal thing for a lot of people, obviously something's going on. Obviously something's happening. We ask the questions, what is it? What could it be? And we also have to ask the question, if it is happening, and if stuff has been caught, by stuff I mean craft, biologics, or any type of bodies, intentionally or unintentionally, reverse engineered technology, all these things that we talk about and investigate, if it's actually happening and people are experiencing things, who's covering it up? And I ask that, Patrick, because there's been a lot of talk lately about how deep this goes, right? Throughout the government, it goes through Department of Energy, it goes through contractors, it goes through this and that, and there's steps to this. Who might know about it? Whether it was, Dick Cheney, whether it was, or different people now that have kind of they had the torch passed to them. There's a lot of discussion about that right now. So I ask kind of your view on it. How deep do you think this does go? And why do you think the cover up continues?
Wow, that's a huge question.
A little morsel for us to talk about. That's all.
Well, the secret of the universe is
right. Yeah, it's a little sidebar conversation.
Yeah, that's a great. I mean, I think that's the question that plagues us all at night, lying on our pillows, right? Who look into this a lot is that question. That two-parter there you just asked. Like, I agree. Who's behind it and how deep does it go? I don't know. I'm more confused now than I ever was before because it's like you start looking into it and you realize, oh man, this well goes deep.
Yeah,
this goes really deep, and it's there's a lot of moving parts that you just didn't know existed. It's the tip, not to sound cliche, but it's like you only see the tip of the iceberg.
right.
Most people only see the tip of the iceberg, and if you submerge yourself and you see, oh my God, this iceberg is massive.
Right.
Now, is it on purpose, right? Oh, well, let's just make this as confusing as possible so you can't get to the truth. I wouldn't discount that, if I'm being honest, as much as I've looked into it, just like you have, right? Like, I think there's something going on, some sort of cover up of something, a craft or a body. Me personally, I don't think it's in the quantity that people say it is. I really feel there's probably one true story and one true thing. And they've created all these other fake ones to sort of hide the real one.
Have like a big smoke screen.
Yeah, it's like you hear about all these crashes and there was this and I personally think there's just one. But which one? I don't know, right? Is it Roswell? Roswell still interests me.
Yeah.
Roswell, and it kind of gets lost because it's like, oh, that's the typical one. It's a cliche. It's Roswell. Yeah. But hang on a second. There's just a lot of moving parts to that case that are very compelling still, and it's very easy to dismiss because it became so popularized. But I don't know, man. I think there's something. Is that the one? I don't know, man. I think it almost seems like it's made to be confusing so that you either give up or you don't know where to look. It's a house of mirrors. You don't know what the real image is, but there's only one real image creating all the reflections, right? And it's trying to find. I don't know if you've seen Tango and Cash, but it's one of my favorite movies from the 90s. The very end when they catch Jack Palance, right, in the mirrors, right? It's like you got to find the right one, the real one. Who's the real Jack Palance? I don't know. But that's what I think. I think it's something along those lines. I could be wrong.
No, it's as good a theory as any, honestly. And it's no, and I think you paint a good picture. It made me think of Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon, where he's got all the mirrors around him. And it's like
exactly
who's who, what's what.
Exactly.
And it could absolutely be that, and it could be a mix of that, right? It could be a mix of all these different things that we talk about. And actually, I'll go one even further back. I want to get I've never heard you talk about it, so I'm curious to see, and maybe you haven't, I just missed it. But I'm curious, what is your take on the Magenta case? Because I find that case really, really captivating. And that's going, pre-Roswell. We're talking 1933. We're talking Mussolini, and you're in Europe now, so you have maybe a bit of a better feel of the history there. We're talking the Vatican supposedly being involved with this, along with the United States, this case that David Grush has spoken about. And he speaks that there's truth to this case of this UFO crash in Magenta, Italy in 1933. What's been your take on that over the years?
That's a good point. That's definitely an interesting case. And it's really a lot of it's based on this like telegram or something along those lines, this message that was sent where they talk about an unknown craft and sort of hiding it. And and essentially this unknown craft. Those are the translated words that are used, right? So could there be something like that? Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if anyone's truly looked into that in a really deep,
Yeah.
James Fox moment of contact sort of way, right? So, maybe someone needs to do that, or maybe I need to do that. I don't know. But I agree, it is a compelling case, and again, the real case could be outside of America, and that to me is absolutely legitimate. Is that a real one? Um,
Mm.
speaking earlier about how it's this worldly thing, right? This global thing. So yeah, I agree. And it has a lot of interesting parts. Vatican, Mussolini. This is post World War I, pre World War II, right? It's in
Right.
this interesting era. Yeah, I agree. It's an interesting case.
Yeah, and actually you kind of created a nice little segue there, where we talk about James Fox. I brought him up earlier as far as, when I did a Zoom interview, but something that's been going on, and it's been kind of hot and heavy, and I had him on here not too long ago to talk about it, is his Virginia case. And it's been brought back up because he came out with I guess you can call it a part two, for lack of a better term. And now he's talking to the doctors. They're in Washington, D.C. They're at the National Press Club, and everyone's paying attention to it. What is your take on that case specifically? It just, to me, and I'll set it up this way, it seems like there's a lot of there, to kind of use, like, a cliche term, where you have these doctors who are giving these testimonies. They're saying that they worked on the alien, that they looked into its eyes, that it was this most amazing moment ever. It was like looking at an angel's, what one of the doctor who was there in the room. There just seems to be a lot of biological testimony that is hard to ignore when it comes to Varginha. What's your take on all the recent revelations, if you will, when it comes to the Varginha case?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. It's called Moment of Contact: New Revelations of Alien Experience or something, right?
And
Like,
yeah,
yeah, I watched it. I rented it. I recommend people watch the film. Even if you've seen the first Moment of Contact, it does rehash some of that, which rightfully so. It kind of brings you up to speed.
right.
But it does have a lot of new stuff in it, and James just always puts together a good production. So
Yeah,
you'll always be at least entertained.
for sure.
Um, yeah, I bet it started because of Moment of Contact. It was an
Hmm,
interview I had with James Fox. Moment of Contact in the Varginha case really brought me in
hmm.
to the UFO, that case in particular, because I was blown away by that case. And um, so yeah, it's one of those cases that there's so many parts to it. If you're like, well, but what about this part? This seems kind of fishy to me. Okay, but then there's all these other things. Like, it's really hard to dismiss the whole case as a whole,
Yeah,
even if you are skeptical about one part or another. It's a very, very interesting, compelling case. I put it up there as one of the most compelling cases I've ever heard
yeah,
personally. Um, so yeah, I agree. I'm intrigued by it. I've found some red flags myself, and I've made videos about them. I've gotten a lot of hate for doing it, but hey, again, I'm always just going to be, you know, if I see a red flag, I see a red flag. It doesn't mean I don't dismiss the whole case. It's just I'm just pointing out things that are interesting. You have this neurosurgeon who changed his story. I want to know why he changed his story.
hmm,
They said first he initially, this neurosurgeon who claims to have seen the being with his own eyes in the hospital where he works. Originally, he said he just saw a video of it from his friend, and then changes his story. And he changed his story in such a weird way too. He changed his story in the moment. They went to film with him to talk about the video he had saw, and instead of him talking about the video, he just went into, I saw the being here, and James was like, wait, what? What's happening?
oh wow,
I
yeah,
don't. I thought you just saw a video. So I'm just like, well, why did he do that?
yeah,
Why would he change his story so much? But again, even if remove the neurosurgeon, what about the military? What about that guy who saw the craft out in the field? What about the
mhm,
the girls and the
right.
mom and the getting visited by those people who told him to stay quiet? What about all these? Like, it's just the air traffic controller who the United States Air Force came in
Right.
and then left. You're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many moving parts. So
So
even
many
if
moving parts.
you
Yeah,
take away one part, you don't believe one part, and I'm still skeptical of that neurosurgeon, and I know people don't like me saying that, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
I'm still compelled by the case as a whole.
sure.
I want that to be clear. I'm something happened. Something happened in January of 1996, dude.
Yeah.
That is unexplainable. Involved the whole town. Involved different levels of government, the military, the U.S. military. Uh, what happened? I mean, they're talking to farmers. They're talking to just your average everyday people who
Yep.
were saying they saw things. I don't think those people are lying,
Right.
and they didn't change their story.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and yeah, you've got also these claims of the actual beings and right these alien beings, and I agree, man. I think it's a compelling case.
Yeah, I think it's probably I think you mentioned top 3. It might be 1 or 2, honestly, and it just in my book,
Sure,
because there's
I
so
agree.
many, like, yeah, I mean, because like you said, there's so many moving parts, and there's so many from different segments of society, right? You have the military, you have the surgeons, you have just regular old people who are walking by and seeing an alien who are saying that they saw these things. They've seen, a crash on a craft on the ground. You have an unexplained death of a Brazilian soldier. I mean,
Yeah,
and they say that happened because he came into contact with the being, and there's just so much that goes into it. And I think you make a good point in saying that something happened, because there wouldn't be all this hoopla and all this excitement from Brazilian military and U.S. military if nothing was going on. Why were they so involved in all this if it's just
right.
say maybe a military experiment gone wrong? Other than it's something happened. Somebody saw something. So we'll
Yeah,
see if what else comes of that case. But man, it's just one of those questions that continues to linger. Um,
yeah.
outside of that though, there's more talk too about where are some of these crash sites? Where are some of these things being kept? Even more, there's new talk about something in like an East Coast Navy facility. Have you seen this? And I mean, what do you make of this? That possibly there is a craft that's being kept at an East Coast Navy facility.
I think is this from the UAP Gerb Jesse Michaels interview? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah. A lot of that's being made from Gerb and Jesse Michaels, where I guess Gerb spoke about that with Jesse Michaels.
Yeah,
That he thinks that's where one craft might be.
sure. I mean, yeah, yeah. I, 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 here's the question I have. How can we talk about it like that if that's actually the truth? It's classified and that's really what we have a UFO. We just throw it on a podcast on YouTube and that's okay. Um, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Hmm,
And that's a red flag. It makes me think, well, that's the last spot it is.
hmm.
If they actually have it, that like that's the last spot it actually is. Just because you know the Justice Department in America just imprisoned someone for leaking details about the Maduro Venezuela um, operation that happened. They
Yeah.
take leaking of classified information very seriously. And if that's true, what Gerb is saying to Jesse Michaels, he'd be in jail.
Hmm.
That would be classified information to reveal that there's a UFO there at that particular base because he names the base. It's not like he says, I think there's something in the Northeast. He names exactly where it is. And he names a lot of different things. That's what I find so confusing about people revealing classified information
Hmm.
because that's what they're doing. When they
Yeah.
say these things, they're saying if it's true, that would be classified. You
Hmm.
can't just say those things. So it makes me believe that stuff less, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It's a interesting conundrum, I guess, because
But
we
it
could.
was a great conversation. I want to make
Yeah.
sure that's clear.
Oh,
I
for sure.
thoroughly enjoyed listening. Clearly, Gerb is a smart guy.
Oh
He's
yeah.
done a lot of research and a lot of work. I get a lot of flack, like you must hate Gerb. I don't hate the guy. I'm
Oh.
just saying my opinion for Christ's sake.
Right.
But I respect the guy, and I know he's put in a lot of work. And I'm just asking questions. And of course, I admire Jesse Michaels and the work that he puts to this community, and he's of the same mindset that we are. Just let's have the conversations with
Yeah.
people and talk
Yeah.
about this and see where we get.
And I think, and just to that too, right? I mean, I'm not for tearing anyone down. It's just, yeah, just like you said, as far as, hey, this is my opinion on the conversation. Obviously, they put it out there so people can discuss what might be, the case. Maybe there's something that maybe Gerb is told something that's wasn't true, and he just doesn't know that it's not true. I mean, that could be a case, or maybe it's,
Sure.
hey, someone told him, yeah, you can say this. I mean, that's possible. We don't know. But at
No.
the same time, and I actually did meet him at the last hearing in DC. Great guy. I mean, awesome guy.
Sure.
Super down to earth, just really inquisitive and wants to get to the answers like us. So it's just, obviously
Absolutely.
you have to ask the questions.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. And I think that's fair. There's something that a lot of people ask questions about when it comes to the Nazca mummies. I know you looked into this a little bit recently too. There is talk that might not be a thing. some recent research that's come out. Are those human body parts in the Nazca mummies? What are you hearing about this, and what are your thoughts on what's going on there recently that maybe they've been debunked? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man. I'll be honest. My mom's Mexican. I'm half Mexican. Okay. I grew up going to Mexico as a child. My brother was born in Mexico. Like, I was almost born there, but because of some of the issues of getting paperwork for my brother, my parents were like, no, let's have Patrick in the States. But so I'm very familiar with, first of all, Jaime Maussan's reputation going back decades. Okay.
Right.
And I'm very familiar with bodies like this being put together, manipulated. That this is not a new thing. This is something that goes back. So when I was a kid, I saw these things on TV. And they talked about it. So this isn't some new thing. So I always thought it was BS when it happened, especially when I knew who it was coming from. But but I wanted to look into it. So I spent 4 months putting together a video. I interviewed all these doctors from Peru. The Mexican biologists from Jesse Michaels' documentary, right? All the people connected to the thing. So I did my research and I did interviews, and I, did my due diligence just to make sure, because maybe there's something to it. But what I learned about doing it is that they claim, what I find most interesting is that they claim that these tridactyls are still alive. And that they're actually alive in these Peruvian caves, living as a civilization. So my whole thing is, why are we arguing about if these mummies are real or not? Let's go investigate these live ones. Why that would be the whole smoking gun right there. If you could provide a live tridactyl, right? Instead of trying to prove these things, because some of them look ridiculous.
Right.
And I think the biggest, I'm not a doctor, so I can't really determine if these are real or not, but this, like, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. But what I find interesting is that if you try to ask questions or speak up about it, you get annihilated.
Yeah.
And by the Nazca lovers and fanatics that think it's real. So my whole thing is, hey, if you want people to look into this truly and to be interested in it, you got to let people ask questions. And you even have to let people be skeptical about it. And even if they say they don't think it's real, even if you have doctors coming out, let them say it. What if it's the truth? The truth doesn't care about feelings. So if you really believe in your investigation of the Nazca mummies, or you really think they're real, and that, then the truth will come out that they're real. So there's no need to, demean people or threaten people or harass people who don't think it's real. So, I mean, I just want the truth about the mummies.
Yeah.
I don't make a determination beforehand, and then now I'm going to do everything I can to get to that truth that I want. If they're real, they're real. If they're not, then they're not. Why waste time with things that aren't? But, I hope they do a thorough investigation and release all the findings and yada, yada. So, that's where I sit with it.
There's something I want to get to, kind of what you mentioned about, like different communities that get behind a story, get behind a person. But I want to ask you about that. But first, two things real quick. Number one, of course, I'm going way over my planned time. Do you have like another 30 minutes? Is that okay?
Bro, I'm here. I told you, Stephen, as long as you need, brother,
Perfect.
I'm here.
Because I've already like hit the mark. I'm like, oh, we'll probably go for like 45 minutes, an hour. It's been an hour, and I feel like I've only scratched the surface. So if we can go a little bit
Yep.
longer, that's
Keep
perfect.
going. I'm grabbing a Red Bull.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
that.
I got wings now. Okay. So let's go, baby.
It's that type of interview. Perfect. I love it, man.
Yeah.
Just for the record, for this interview, Patrick has a Red Bull and a cup of coffee for this conversation and a cigarette. So let's just
And a cigarette. I've had, all I need is, I don't know. I can't say it on this interview. No, I'm just kidding.
perfect. But just to jump back real quick before I move forward on that other topic, because I wanted to ask and I forgot it, and it just popped back in my head on Virginia. Would you be more surprised? Like, let's say the case is solved. It's either, okay, we can explain X, Y, and Z, and none of it is aliens. Or it comes down and says, okay, this actually was aliens, and this is the story that proves the whole phenomenon. Would you be more surprised with that scenario to come out and find out that it's all true? Or would if they come out and said, this is actually explainable 100%?
That's an interesting question. That's a good question. With Virginia, right? That's what you're
Yeah.
asking with
Yeah.
Virginia. Well, I guess I would still be surprised if they said it was alien, just
Yeah.
because I've never seen an alien. I don't, I don't, I mean, that would be like, oh, wow. Even if I think it's real, once something becomes real, that's still surprising to me. So I would be most surprised. I have to be honest. I'd still be suspicious if they were like, this was just a regular thing.
Mhm.
I would actually be suspicious about that. Now I'd be surprised. I would be surprised. I'm looking for that moment to
Yeah.
happen, right? So I'm gonna be blown away when it's like, oh my God, this is real. Like, I'm probably gonna need to sit down for a few days after
Yeah.
that happens.
You're
Like,
right.
just take it all in. Like, oh
Yeah.
my God,
I do. I agree with you.
right?
Even for, I'd say people like us, not like I put us on a pedestal or anything, but I mean like people like us when I say that we're in this, right? We investigate, we have
Yeah,
conversations about it. It's what we do. And if we did have that moment of like, holy moly, this is actually happening, it would still be kind of like an ontological shock moment for us, I think, because now we're seeing it,
absolutely.
right? Now it's in front of our
Yeah,
face. Like, oh, I believed
yeah,
it, but now I actually see it. And it's like that moment of realization.
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
And so outside of that, but I just wanted to throw that out there because I felt like, could you imagine? And
Yeah,
it would, man, but that is, I think, one of the cases that still is one of the most interesting to talk about.
I
But
agree.
kind of getting back to how people can get behind something and it almost becomes an unhealthy obsession on some of these topics. There's a lot that goes on in the UFO community, especially on social media, where I've noticed it can become cannibalistic. And I think, and I know you've experienced this, that's why I wanted to bring it up to you. Um, it becomes almost clicky, and we get lost. Just my observation, we kind of get lost in the discussion of, I think this guy is right. I think you're a disinformation agent. And we stop seeing the bigger picture, which is, don't we all want the same thing? I think so. Like, we all just want to find out what the truth is behind all this. So how have you experienced that? Because I know it's gotten pretty ugly for you. There have been people who have doxed you. There have been people who have, said some pretty nasty things to you. So how do you experience this kind of like, I guess, the toxic side, if you will, of the UFO community?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that just people would never know if you just, regular person, you watch documentaries on Netflix, and you watch a YouTube video here and there, right? You're
Right.
just not involved in the minutia of the community. Really wouldn't even know that this exists. But yeah, there's this sort of tribal, like you said, I believe this person, so now they go on a pedestal and everything they do is perfect. It's like, well, wait a second, right? Like, the people that talk about UFOs became the UFO, in the sense that
Hmm.
they became the prize. And like you said, that's not the prize. The prize is the truth about what this whole phenomena is and what's going on. And that's what, and like you said, like, don't we all want to know what that is? Forget who's talking about it,
Yeah.
right? That doesn't mean anything to me. We can respect people who've done work and research and are coming out and telling stories. Okay, no problem. But at the end of the day, that's not the point. It's to find out what the truth is about this phenomenon. And there have been people that take it to another level of tribalism and, like you said, threatening, doxing, harassing people who have questions about this. I mean, if the UFO community can't withstand questions about within the community about stories or experiences, how do you expect the stigma to go away when the UFO community has a stigma?
Yeah.
Right? When in within the UFO community there is a stigma to not ask questions, but then also the UFO community is complaining, well, there's a stigma out in the world about talking about UFO. Wait a second, but you also have a stigma. If you're in the UFO community, you're not even allowed to ask questions sometimes
Right.
about things. So you can't have it both ways. The bigger the bubble gets about the UFO community, the more people that get interested, the more people that insert themselves into the community. They see a documentary, they see Age of Disclosure, they see that a grandma gets sent Age of Disclosure and goes, oh, you know what? I want to look into this a little bit more, and then goes online and sees like, oh my God. They were
Yeah.
just now they've left the community. Now
Right.
they don't care anymore because of that toxicity. So yeah, I think it's a huge problem that needs to be addressed. And it's like walking on eggshells. Most people don't want to talk about it. They don't, they just want to ignore the quote drama and stay. And I get that. Okay. I totally get that. It's not healthy to sort of indulge those sort of things, but it gets taken to a point where you got to say something. Like, there's people being doxxed. I got doxxed,
Yeah.
literally doxxed. They spread rumors about me that are so horrendous. I can't even repeat them, to
Yeah.
be honest with you. And it's a lot for people to take in. And if, I'm a creator, so I'm used to people saying things about me that aren't true, just like you are, right? Like, it
Yeah.
happens and
Right.
you deal with it. But your average everyday person who's just looking into this, they also get doxxed, threatened, and harassed for asking questions. And they don't know how to deal with it
Mm.
because they're like, well, because they're just, whoa, what the fuck, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge problem. I think again, the bigger the bubble gets, the more people that look into this, you know, that will either stop the growth of people interested in UFOs, or it will get so big that some of these toxic elements won't be able to thrive because there'll be more people and they won't be able to attack everybody. So the questions are going to get out. And I think that's kind of happening. I mean, you know, my channel grew over the last couple of years, right? And I asked
Right.
questions the whole time.
Right.
And even though people tried to quote shut me down or get me to go away or what, it didn't go away. Clearly, people are interested in this topic, but they also have questions, which is a reasonable approach to this, right? You're interested, you
Yeah.
care, but hey, there's some things that don't make sense, and you go, hey, that doesn't make sense. It's
Right.
not the end of the world to ask a question about something that doesn't make sense. If I went to a restaurant and I ordered food and the food hasn't shown up at my table, there's nothing wrong with asking the waiter, hey, can you check on my dish? Is that coming out anytime soon? There's nothing
Right.
wrong with that,
Right.
right? So that's where I'm at with it, and yeah, it's kind of disgusting that some of this stuff happens. You know, it's life as well. But yeah, it's I wish it wasn't like that, and I wish some of these people didn't do it and fanboy out on some people and just put them above humanity. Like, this is something I always say. I'll just leave it here. In our search to expand humanity, we can't lose our humanity,
100%. Yeah.
right?
Right.
Like, we're trying to, oh, if we find out everything about aliens and UFO, the world will become a better place, technology, this and that, but we're going to step all over each other to make it happen.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. I would give up the knowledge of the truth about UFOs and aliens if it meant humanity was better to each other.
Hmm.
I would exchange that. I
Yeah.
don't think it's worth it. The ends don't justify the means for me. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? I would rather humanity become better. We become better people than you shouldn't have to give up one for the other.
Yeah.
Clearly, ideally, that would be the case, right? We wouldn't have to give up. But if I had to choose one, yeah, I'd rather humans be nicer to each other than we find out if aliens or UFOs are real or not.
Yeah. And why do you think that happens, though? I mean, why do you think we see the tribalism when it's like, hey, well, this person, if you're saying something bad about this person, then I think you're awful, and I'm going to try to ruin your life. And it's like, a little bit of vice versa situation. It's, this person's evil. This person's a disinformation. This person is trying to spread lies. And I mean, why do you think that it has happened where the figure has become more important in people's eyes than the actual bigger picture itself? And what do you think the psychology is behind that?
I mean, I think it's a mix. I think there's ego involved from some of these UFO personalities, some of these people that
Oh,
their
actually, yeah.
ego.
On that note, and I meant to ask that. I'm glad you said that. Do you think it's intentional, or is it a mix? Do you think there are some people who have mobilized a community to say, go out and attack anybody who doesn't agree with me? Or is it just there's fanboys out there that get really offended if you talk against their favorite person?
I think it's a mix of both. I think there are people who weaponize, their fans. Well, me in particular, I think there's one guy, and you can cut this if you want, but I think it's Lou. I think Lou Elizondo's fans are the worst fans in the entire UFO community.
No,
You
I
know,
won't cut. And if you're willing to go there, then yeah, go for it.
of course, I made a whole video, but I firmly believe that. I make videos about everybody. That's what Vetted does. I cover the news, right? I cover George Knapp's, your Ross Coulthart's, your Gary Nolan's. Let's go down the list. Your Stephen Greer, anybody and everybody. And yeah, people will come and defend if they believe a story or that. But if you cover Lou Elizondo and you say the wrong thing, that's who doxed me, was his fans. They
Mm,
come out to defend that guy like nobody's business. They're the most toxic, horrific people, and
mm.
he's a patriot and a whisper. Okay, he may be those things, but that doesn't give you the right to dox people in his name. And they do it in his name. That's the worst part. It's like,
Mm.
and Lou Elizondo kind of acts a little like aloof, like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Is this happening in my name? I don't think so. Integrity.
Mm.
Duh. It's just like, bro, if people were out doing those things in Vetted's name, if people were out there like, I'm defending you, Patrick, I'd say, don't stop. What are you doing? Don't do that in my name. Let people say whatever they want about me. Don't go dox them.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like, there are lines, and people cross those lines. And again, I start to go, I don't care about UFOs and aliens. Now we're talking about humans' life. Like,
Yeah.
that's despicable to me, especially when I see, like, I'm old school. I'm from Texas. I see women getting hurt. I see women getting
Mm.
threatened, and that really bothers me, man.
Sure.
I'm old school that way.
Sure.
I just don't, people that can't defend themselves properly without a proper platform. And why do they do it? Is, I personally don't think there's some, like, government control thing. I literally think it's people's egos.
Mm.
I really do. People who just have thin skin. I think Lou Elizondo has a very thin skin and doesn't like criticism. He's already been busted. He admitted having sock accounts that he went on and attacked people with other Twitter accounts because he couldn't handle people saying things about him that he didn't like or that weren't true.
Mm.
It's like, dude, you're a public figure. You literally can't stop everyone from saying things about you that are not true.
We've
It's
both been
going to
there.
happen forever.
Yeah.
It's just the reality. What, you're going to go attack Dragon Breath 69 from Ohio when he says something about you? You don't. It's just like, dude, let it go. You can't. It's just an impossible thing. And everyone else that you talk about, they can handle that criticism. They may not like it. I get it. Damn, man, people out there saying stuff like sucks. Okay, I get it. But going the steps that Lou Elizondo's fans go to, I've never seen anything like it in
Mm.
any community. And I just don't, I hope it stops. I hope, and I don't see him making an effort to make it stop. He just says it doesn't exist. Bro, it exists.
Mm.
Like, acknowledge it. It's gone past the point of, I just don't believe I don't know what's going on. I mean, you're either the dumbest person I've ever met, or you're, purposefully ignorant. And again, we can't lose our humanity in this search to find out the truth about the phenomena.
Right. No, it's an ugly situation, and I second that. I hope it stops. It shouldn't be happening. Let's all we can be kind to each other in the exploration of trying to find the truth. I mean, there's no reason
I
for us to
agree.
get so nasty. Um,
Yeah.
Outside of that, I'll take us out of some of that stuff that's going on. We mentioned some of the cases, right? Some of the big cases. We mentioned some of the Roswell, some of the Virginia, some Magenta. Those are ones that people hear about a lot. Those are ones that are investigated a lot. What do you think? I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. What do you think, just in your travels and your things that you've investigated, what's a case in your mind that doesn't get enough attention, or scenario even that doesn't get enough attention that you think it's right up there? Like, we should put it up there with the Virginias and the Roswells and so on and so forth. But for whatever reason, people just don't talk about it that much.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think two parts. So I would say psionics, which is what I'm looking into. I
Yeah.
think that's something to really pursue and to look into, the power of the mind and our consciousness and what we may be connecting with. And I find that to be quite interesting, and everything that branches from that, remote viewing,
Mm-hmm.
right? All of that. I'm very interested in that stuff. That intrigues me. This sort of quantum tunneling happening, or quantum communication. Like, I'm super interested in that,
Yeah.
and I don't think enough people look into it. And then aside from that, I think there's a lot of international cases. Especially as an American, and I got caught up in it myself. But having moved to Spain and realizing, holy cow, there's a whole subculture here. So many UFO cases I never heard of that are famous here,
Wow.
right? That people talk about, and that's interesting to me. And I'm going to start exploring some of that here in the 2026, at least just from where I'm at. So I think there's just a whole bottom of the iceberg of UFO cases that are around the world that we've just never heard about, that are
Yeah.
so intriguing, so compelling. And I think that, preponderance of cases does add some credibility to the community and to the study of this topic, right? That it's like, hey, it's not just happening here, it's happening in place. This is insane. I'm there's even a local guy that I'm going with, that my brother-in-law hunts with, that there's a UFO hotspot around me.
Wow.
Apparently, this mountain, I'm going to go sleep in this cave, and this guy's going to show me where these UFOs show up all the time. I'm like,
Awesome.
what? Isn't that nuts? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like nuts. Like, whoa, what the heck? I mean, yeah, I think we just got to get out of our little bubbles, and I'm guilty of it, and realize, like we said earlier, going back, just to bring it back full circle, this is a global thing. And I think that's what
Mhm.
people should focus on, trying to understand. But there's that language barrier. So I get it. Sometimes it's really hard to look into certain things,
Sure.
just don't know the language. So it's not like you're reading their newspapers or seeing their TV or news, but more and more things are getting translated and looking into. And so hopefully that those kind of things, we can start to bridge the gaps with other countries and cultures to help bring it out a little bit more. And I hope do that here in Spain.
No, that's awesome. And kind of on that note too, and this is I'll finish with this topic, maybe not necessarily this question, but with this topic, to kind of bridge from that, is exploring kind of the ancient history of things. And I noticed that you want to start getting into that more, and
Yeah.
looking into, how do these things from 1,000 years ago, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, how do these things relate to today? How do some of these ancient cultures relate to today? So what are you most excited about, really wanting to dig into, no pun intended, kind of dig into
Yeah.
some of the dad joke, kind of, in that arena? Like, what are you trying to, I guess, start with there to connect the dots?
Yeah, great question. I mean, Atlantis. Okay.
I
And
had that written
specifically
down.
here in,
I don't know.
bro, did you
Yeah,
have Atlantis written down?
have Atlantis written down on my list. That was going to be a follow-up question, was, hey, what about Atlantis? But go for it. Yeah,
Bro,
definitely.
Atlantis. There's some new information. There's a new investigation about Atlantis potentially being in the Iberian Peninsula, which is right by me.
Right there.
Okay. Literally right by, just a short drive away to where they think Atlantis actually may be. And I'm just like, when I heard that, I thought, what am I doing? I want to look into this stuff. I want to get out there. I want to, having done the documentary, man, and really boots on the ground, like in the real world, like that lit a spark at me to like really want to get out and do real world investigations. And again, it's really hard. Like we were talking about that. Is there a UFO at a naval base in Maryland? I can't go check that, dude.
Yeah.
But what I can do, you tell me Atlantis may be in the Iberian Peninsula, I can go there. I can look into so that's what interests me. I want to go look into this. I want to go to Egypt. I want to go to the Peruvian Nazca Lines. I want to go to India. I want to go to Scotland. I want to go to wherever, all these different places where things might be happening in Spain, especially. Spain has such a rich history going back, dude, prehistoric. The oldest known human art is in Spain, literally in the town I live in Spain.
Really?
There's a cave going back hundreds of thousands of years where this famous red handprint.
Oh, wow.
That's where I live.
That's awesome.
The town I live in is a World Heritage City. And it's just the history, the rich history here. And I think we don't know everything about our history. There's still so many more mysteries about it. And some of these, right? And maybe even how that connects to NHI. I find that fascinating too, right? Yeah. Some of that, maybe our origin as a human species. We think we got it figured out. We don't know anything.
No,
right? So, I want to explore some of that stuff. And Atlantis, of course, like how like romanticizes that story and that idea. And I just think, it just sounds like an interesting place to start.
Yeah, I mean, because there's just so much. I mean, you may never crawl out of that hole because it's a really deep hole. And I mean, because you start to talk about, a lost continent in Lumeria, was that part of Atlantis? Or are they one and the same? And was there a breakaway civilization that,
exactly
survived this catastrophic event that might have taken place? And are they living underground, or are they part of the alien phenomenon? I mean, there's so much that can break away. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck putting that one together. There's just so much you can do with that. So I mean, maybe,
my God.
And maybe it does. Maybe it does actually connect to, you mentioned the pyramids in ancient Egypt. Edgar Casey spoke about it. If you want to connect the two, where he spoke about Atlantean artifacts being under a paw of the Sphinx. So,
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. And how that he supposedly remote viewed that, and that's in the Edgar Casey library, that session. So he supposedly saw this, where there's this hidden knowledge under. I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I forget if I know it's the right or the left front paw of the Sphinx, and we gotta have to look into that. But it's one of those. And he said, there's something under there that connects back to this lost knowledge of Atlantean history. So might be able to bridge the gap there. And that's something that's always fascinating to me. Yeah. I don't know. There may be a UAP invented investigation looking into these.
Let's go. Maybe this is how you come to Europe for the first time, is we do a little boots on the ground work here.
I'm all for it, man. Don't tempt me with a good time, because I'll do it. So, I'll come out there, guerrilla warfare with my camera, filming things on my iPhone. I'm ready.
Let's go. Yeah, absolutely. Man. No, I'm still rolling at you. Good luck. That was so funny.
I don't know how you're gonna do it, but I'm all for it, man.
But good luck, bro. Good luck. Good luck, buddy. Oh man, that was
I love it, man. This has been this has been great. I love having you on. It's always great to kind of catch up and talk about this stuff and really just try to put it all out there.
Sure.
Where if people aren't watching your stuff, Patrick, how do they find you? Where can they look you up with Vetted?
Yeah, just go. I'm a YouTube show. So just go to YouTube, search Vetted, Vetted. We'll come up right away. Um, and that's really it. I mean, I just make it easy. I mean, you can go to our website, vetted.show, but I just say go to YouTube and search, because I see that a lot. People just search for us on YouTube. It comes up really easy. So yeah, just catch us on YouTube there. Vetted, baby. Let's go.
pretty easy. It's straightforward. And just, I'll say this too before we're done. Awesome job, man, on everything. I've obviously been following what you've been doing for the past few years. To see, your growth and what you've been doing, how much growth you've had in the YouTube channel and the consistency. That's one thing I want to put this out there publicly for you, is the consistency of what you've done on your show, of putting stuff out every day. And yeah, little vacations here and there, and that's fine. But to do something every day and to continuously put in that effort, it's extremely difficult. And so I just want to commend you on that you've been able to do that consistently now over the past few years and your channel. And, the growth of that channel is well deserved because you put in the hard work. So kudos to you, sir.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
No, thank you, dude. Same to you, dude. I love your show. You know that. You know that I love the interviews you do and what you bring to the community. And I love your open-mindedness. And there just needs to be, more people like us, dude, who are just interested in this, genuinely passionate and interested in this and open-minded and don't mind having a conversation with anybody about anything. And I respect that a lot.
Oh, man. Awesome. Likewise. And hopefully we'll do it again down the road here. More things develop, as we go on throughout the year.
Absolutely.
Definitely stay in touch. And who knows?
Once the film comes out.
Yeah,
Once
perfect.
the film comes out, I'll come back on, man. I'd love to talk to you after you see it. I can't wait for you to see it, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it, to be honest.
No, absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, well, that's absolutely one opportunity to bring you back on here. And who knows, you might see some videos coming live from Spain or from Egypt with myself and Patrick. So I'm just saying.
Let's go, baby.
I love it.
Let's go. I'll bring the fireworks. I don't know how to bring those back, but I'm gonna bring the.
Let's bring those back.
I did something. Yeah.
It's so wild. Patrick Armstrong, Vetted, right here on UAP. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, man.